Hey, this is Christy James. I'm going to be doing my observation video this morning. I am actually going to be in Kara Autry's classroom. She has been a 4th and 5th grade teacher 18 years plus, which is pretty amazing in education. Currently she teaches 4th grade and she is at the intermediate level. She teaches math and social studies, and she's a fabulous math teacher and social studies teacher. So this morning I'm going to be observing her in her classroom, and I just wanted to let you know a little bit about her. She is an amazing teacher. Again, her name is Kara Autry. And what I'm going to be looking for, or my field experience, is actually I'm going to be listening and taking notes and coming from an administrator's point of view of actually observing a teacher. So this will be interesting. I will be videotaping myself, which can be, you know, a little weird, but anyway, we're going to get through this. I'm going to be looking for what different ways she teaches the children. How does she reach the children? How does she differentiate her instruction and be able to reach and teach all the different functioning levels in her classroom? And I'm going to be observing her and excuse me, I do have a cough today. Observing her and how she basically how she's teaching and basically how she's teaching her lesson. I won't be observing her in math today. I'll be actually in social studies. She is going to be teaching the students about the different regions of Texas. And when I talked to her, several things she said is she's going to be comparing and contrasting the regions of Texas. And the students will be using a Venn diagram up on the whiteboard. And they're going to be using their notes to be able to share some of the facts about Texas. A couple of days ago, they started writing different facts and learning about the different regions of Texas. I know before that, they did a really cool hand drawing of Texas and have put those together, and they're really, really neat. The students did a great job on those, so I was able to see those a couple of days ago. They are also, again, they're going to be using their notes. They take notes in an actual, they have a separate binder for history, and each student keeps their notes in that, so they're actually able to go back and look at those notes. But what they did from the very beginning of school, and they can also go back and look at the notes if they need additional help. So that's a great idea, and each student has a notebook. One thing that she is going to do today is she's going to let the students turn and talk to the other students about what they've been working on, especially with the Venn diagram. The Venn diagram to me is really, really cool in order to, what is different over here, what's different over here, but what is the same in the middle. So the Venn diagrams give them a better perspective, and it's a great visual for students to be able to see the differences and comparing and contrasting, and also what is the same. So she's going to be doing that. One of the things, again, I did talk, the students are going to be going to the board and filling out the Venn diagram. How is she going to follow up and assess the students' engagement? Well, one thing she did tell me was that she observes the kids while she's teaching to be able to see if they're listening. Are they talking? Are they looking up at the board where she sees when she's actually teaching them? Are they looking up at the board? Are they looking around? And so she has some other kind of some other personal little things that she looks for while she's teaching. Some other things is she loves to ask some questions. These kiddos love to talk. So she loves to ask them questions about what she's taught them. She did tell me that she goes back and she makes them reread their notes from the very beginning of the week to make sure that they are, remember, it gives them ideas, it refreshes them, and again, it lets them know where they're going to be going that day. And so it gets them kind of up to date and up until she starts the lesson on the board. Another thing that she talked about, because we visited in person, was that she felt like her pacing. She does have several students that need some extra time on their work in her classroom. She sometimes says she realizes she teaches too fast, but she wants to be able to slow down and make sure everybody, again, is engaged, but mostly that she checks for understanding throughout her lesson. She checks for understanding throughout her lesson. So she is going to be fully, actively engaging these kids up at the whiteboard today. So that's really exciting. Some students, one thing that she did say, or what we had visited about, was what if she has a student that doesn't want to go to the whiteboard or, participate in the whiteboard area of the assignment. And she did say that that's one reason why she puts them in groups, is because if there's a shy kiddo, there might be one that's real bubbly and likes to talk, or I guess you could say kind of the leader, and one kid that's very, very shy. And so she said grouping is what helps her a lot with those kind of situations with kids in her room. One thing she did say is she does have, she has had in the past and has a few kids this year that are behavioral issues. So she tries to specifically group them with certain students or pair them and put them in the group and give them a buddy within the group. So I thought that was really neat because I think that it keeps the child that is a behavioral issue a little bit more focused and, maybe needs a little bit more one-on-one leadership when working in the group. So I'm excited about videotaping her, or actually videotaping me, but I'm excited about to see what she does. I've heard lots of really good things about Miss Autry. She absolutely loves teaching. Several things that I want to be, again, I'm going to be looking for is how does she reach the kids? How does she, what happens if something in the middle and she reaches certain kids but doesn't reach some or one or two? And again, she will go back, and she did say that she does go back to reteach the assignment. And she said that is very, very important. After she checks for understanding as a class, she also said often she will go back and walk throughout the class, or as of today, she'll go up and walk up to the Venn diagram on the whiteboard, and she will individually make sure that they understand what they're doing. One of the things she did say was that when the kids are up at the whiteboard today, she is going to be working with some of the kids that are struggling with the different regions of Texas. So she's actually given them some hints to be able to remember those different regions. And one of the things that she is doing is she's using like a globe. She's using a Texas map. She uses several books that she has on the regions of Texas. And one thing that she knows that this specific age group does like to do is they love to draw. And so they were able to, again, do that map of Texas, which was really cool. So I got to see some of those. That was very exciting the other day. This is going to be very interesting to me also because I actually have two students in that are mainstreamed or inclusion services with our regular ed classrooms this year. So I have two students. So I'm very curious to know myself as their special ed teacher how that's going to look. And then I want to come in from a administrator's point of view. Some other things that me personally, I guess as administrator would be is looking for to see how she ties those to the TEKS. So I didn't get a chance to ask her about the TEKS in this lesson. But hopefully my follow-up will be that I can be able to get that question answered from her. From an administrator's point of view also is, again, the TEKS, her pacing. How does she reach all the students with different instruction levels or different medias and how she reaches the students? She did say that the students love to do anything that's related to the computer. So in the future, she's going to be taking this lesson and extending it and letting them look on the computer. She is looking for a field trip that would actually extend this lesson and be real concrete and hands-on for them. I know in the past, the Gaylord Texan over in Grapevine Mills, which is a hotel, their actual lobby was the actual regions of Texas. So it was really cool. So that, I don't know if they have that now, but it was really cool. I was very fortunate enough to be able to go in there and see the different regions of Texas and learn about them. So some students do know that there's different regions of Texas. I do know one boy had a question for her that she did mention was, does every state have different regions in their state? And so that was a unique question that was presented to her by a student. So several other things that she's going to do is she did say that she is going to follow up. Is she's going to follow up with the students in their notebooks. She's going to check for understanding after the Venn diagram is completed. She is going to have them use their notes to complete the Venn diagram, and then she's going to follow up and have them open their notes and compare that with the Venn diagram that they filled out. So she's really doing a lot of reinforcing as far as taking what's in the notebooks, using it during and filling out the Venn diagram, but then she's also following up with the Venn diagram to reinforce what she has taught. So I thought that that was pretty interesting that she's actually using that. I know a lot of teachers don't like a Venn diagram. I think they're pretty cool. I think it actually gives a better comprehension for the students as to what they're learning. And it separates the areas, but then it also brings them back together to, here's a difference, and then together they come together, they're the same. So that is some other things. Oh, one other thing that she is doing is she is, they have a set of vocabulary words that they've been defining during this lesson. So as they go through the different regions of Texas, they are answering questions, and they're also, when they come across some regions of Texas that they don't understand, they are defining those words as they go, and the students are writing those in the notebook too. So I am really looking forward to seeing how she does all this. One one question that I did have, and I know this is because I'm in special ed, is she does have quite a few students in her classroom. So I'm curious as to how she's able to reach those kiddos with just her. So again, I am going to be observing Kara Autry in history today.
Okay. All right. So everyone just set your journals to the side for right now. Okay. Who can tell what we've been talking about in Texas history? Cortez. We have been talking about math skills. That is correct.
Maps and compass roses and the map symbols.
Yes,
Legend.
we have. That's correct. Do we have anything else in Texas history? Okay. All right. Well, why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you open up your journal and look through all the notes for the first unit and see if you find anything different besides just maps.
Region.
Don't yell out.
Where do I sit? Because I wasn't here yesterday. Did you see that?
Right there, baby. I forgot. Okay. So, who looked in their journal and discovered what we've been talking about? Besides just math skills. Okay, besides math skills. We're talking about the regions of Texas. That's right. Who can tell me how many regions we have? Alyssa? 4 regions. 4 regions. That's right. So, starting next week, we're gonna start talking about the Indians, the American Indians that lived in those 4 regions. Okay? But this week, what we're gonna finish up today, and then Monday we're gonna have our unit test. But so today we're gonna look at the regions, and there's a few important factors about our regions that we put inside our notebook, our region notes. Who can tell me what those 4 important things that we pulled out from each particular region? What did we pull out? Everyone open up your journals and look and go to your table, and I'll talk about it for a second. See if you can find those 4 important things, or 5. There are 5. Talk about the table, make sure everyone has it. Oh, baby, you don't have the Texas History Journal because your name. Where's your Texas History Journal? She doesn't have that. Can you share with her, please, babe? So does everyone know what we're talking about now? I'm talking with your neighbors? Jordy, can you tell us what are the 5 important parts of the regions that we talked about, that we took notes on? Can you give me one of them? Landforms. What are landforms? Who can tell me about landforms? What do you know about landforms? Canyons and mountains and grassy lands and prairies and what else? So okay, so now that you talked about that, what kind of map would you look at to find those? What type of map would we use to find the canyons and the prairies and the grasslands? Not a political map, but our physical map. Our physical map. Because on our physical map it shows the land, the features of it. It shows us the landforms, the rivers and elevations. That's right. Okay, so what's another important thing we talked about in our regions?
Vegetation.
It's Gabriel, right? Oh. Do what now? Vegetation. What's vegetation mean? What does vegetation mean? Brayden?
Grass, small trees.
So vegetation is the type of plants, right? Plants that we find in that region. Do you think we've talked about landforms, we've talked about vegetation. Valerie, the economics. Who knows about what's the economics part? It's hard to talk about the economics when we haven't really talked about Indians because it really takes people for economics to work. But, so if it's talking about oil and gas and what, farming and the military, what do you think you do with those things? What do those things do for Texas? It's types of industries, that's correct. And so industries do what? It gives us what? Money. It's how people survive. That's right. It gives us money. And it's how we can live and how each region is able to be successful. Does every region have the same type of industries? Why not? If down in Houston they have oil fields and oil rigs and all that kind of stuff, where else can we have them?
In Texas.
Where else in Texas? What other region? Maybe not back in. Where else do we have oil rigs in? How about West Texas? Right? Out towards what, the Great Plains and the Central Plains. That's right. They drill for oil over there. That's right. So you can have them in what, 2 different regions. So we have that. So we have oil. What's another important fact that we pull, or something we talked about? A title.
Economic activity.
And we said that one already. Mm-hmm. What's another one? Let's see. April. What? Weather? Climate. Climate. That's right. The climate. Okay? So they talk about the type of climate it has. Climate is what do the words say there in one of the regions? It says what? It's describing what?
Hot summers and cold
It's describing the summer, the winters, and the summers. Is there other part of climate?
Yeah.
Is climate only hot or sunny?
No.
What can it be?
Could be
Tell me, Sarah. Hey, you're smart.
hot and cold.
Okay. So besides hot and cold, what else? What else is climate?
Warm.
Who watches the weatherman at night?
Rain.
Rain,
Snow. Warm.
snow, hail, tornadoes.
Snore.
What have we had here recently?
Hurricane.
Hurricane. So climate can be all of those things. It's not just hot and cold, not just summers and winters. It's all of everything in the atmosphere. So what does the coastal plains have that the Great Plains will not have? We just had one.
Hurricane.
We had a hurricane. Why do you think that why do you think the coastal plains will have a hurricane and the Great Central Plains will not? Why?
Because one.
Marco. It's closer to the ocean. What do you need to have in the hurricane? What makes a hurricane work? So where are they going to get water if they're in the Great Plains? Nowhere, because there's no ocean in the Great Plains. That's right. So good. All right, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you a piece of paper. We're going to actually put it in our journal in just a minute. But you are going to, what is this called? Who knows what this is? Come on, Josh, you're smart.
Circle.
It's a circle mark. Yeah, something like that. Abraham.
A bubble diagram.
A bubble diagram. Something else we can call it. There's the V.
Venn diagram.
Venn diagram. That's right. What do we use this for? What do we use this? This is a good strategy for what? You've been doing it since you were little.
Telling the difference.
So right here. Okay. And what do you do with those two characters in that story? Are you her? Zip it. Differences and alikes. That's right. So, do we only use characters in our story?
No.
What can I do this with? What do you think we're going to use this for? Selma, Sash, just Alyssa, and Braden, and Cortez. Abigail, your mom is an English teacher.
For one that is, the middle is for like the same thing. And the,
Okay, but what are we going to use this for today? What have we been just talking about? Or what?
our Texas region.
So what do you think we're going to do with this one? What are we get?
Talk about the central thing.
Okay, so we're going to do, this is what compare, and what?
Contrast.
We're going to compare and contrast. So this is, compare is going to be how they are what? Alike and
Different.
good. Alike and different. Okay? So we are going to pick 2 regions. You get to pick 2 regions at your table. Okay? You don't have to do the same 2 that this table's doing or the same 2 that they're. You as a group, you're going to sit there together and y'all are going to talk about 2 regions. You're going to pick 2 regions. And then I'm going to hand you a sheet of paper, and then we're going to cut them out, and I'm going to kind of show you what we're going to do with it. But before I give you the paper and you start cutting it and doing all that, I'm going to just come by and give y'all some paper. And I want you to start, like let's say these 2 pick, if you pick coastal plains and mountain basins or Great Plains. 2 of you pick out all the what? All the things that's on the Great Plains. Y'all pick out all the things on the coastal plains, right? And then y'all can get together and see which ones they have what. That goes where? Alike. So this is going to be one region. R-E-G-I-O-N, is that right? Did I spell it right? And this is going to be another region. And this is going to be what everything this one has. This is going to be what? What they have in common. Or what they have the same. Or alike. So if I have something here, can it be right here too?
No.
No. If they both have it, where does it go?
In the middle.
Good. Alright. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to come by and give you some paper. And then y'all start working that. So right now while I'm doing the paper, y'all talk about at your group what you want to do. And if there's only 3 of you, actually, Marco. Why don't you, hey, Abigail, come over here and sit. Why don't you go over there and sit? And why don't you 2 go join that group right there. And then y'all 3 are just going to have to, I guess, make work because Monday's coming. Y'all can kind of do both of them together, okay? Does that work? Let's sit right here with y'all. I said right here. Alright. So you 2 pick a region, or y'all have 2 regions, and then y'all each pick a region. You may use your notes. You may use your notes in your journal. Alright. I'm only going to give y'all about 5 minutes. So y'all need to not just, you need to stay focused. I don't care. However you want to do it. So you're going to do the coastal plains. What are y'all going to do? Central plains. Good. All right. So what are you going to do? So you're going to do the coastal plains, the mountain. So y'all going to do the coastal plains or mountain and basin? Mountain and basin. Y'all going to do the coastal plains. All right. Good. Perfect. All right. Now you don't have to draw it. Just write. And hey, y'all, class. You don't have to draw it on here. All you're going to do is write whatever, when I come by and I'm going to ask you which region you're doing, you're only going to write the features about your region. Okay? So you write everything about coastal plains, you're writing everything about, or you're doing coastal, you're on mountain basin, and y'all do everything about coastal. Alright, which one do y'all picking? What? No, not that one. You're going to pick the recap. So why don't y'all pick, one of y'all pick Great Plains, two Great Plains. Two Great Plains? Now which one do y'all want to pick? Right here. So write all the things about Great Plains that you know. What? I'm sorry? No, you're not doing these. You're actually doing, you're going to write all of the features that you have. Right, do Mountain Basin. So y'all pick out anything from Mountain Basin that y'all want to put on here. So if you're doing climate, make sure y'all have some climate. If you're going to talk about vegetation, make sure y'all have some vegetation, okay? You don't have to choose everything, just a few of them, okay? Alright, so which region are y'all doing? Which region are y'all doing? Purple, really? The region's purple? What's that region called? You don't have to do that. Just turn it up for me, right?
We're not doing the this is just quit hovering over it. Oh, yeah. No, don't do it.
Y'all, you need to be helping her.
Plains, rivers, you're right, rivers.
Are y'all writing? Okay, Cortez, come on. You're done singing. Let's do one. Cortez, you need to write some things down too.
I did.
Okay. Yes. Bye-bye. I'm sorry. You're writing down all the things about your region. Okay, so y'all got enough on one region. Now go to the other region real quick. Since y'all are going to do both regions, and pick out some of the things that you wrote on this. Pull that from the other one. So the other region, like if you chose. Real quick, everyone stop. So what you need to do right now is you wrote some things down about your region. If it was landforms, if it was climate, or if it was the economical part. What do they call it? Yeah, economical activity. Stop real quick. Talk to the person across from you and make sure they wrote some of their things down the same as yours. Okay? And then after you make sure they have some of theirs, then y'all start looking at them, and everything that you have and they have that's alike, put a circle on it. So, like for example, if you've got coastal plains and you've got the Great Plains or whatever, and you both have oil under economic activity, then you would circle it, because all the ones that you circle would have to fit in the middle, correct? All right, good. The ones that are not circled are the ones that you're going to put on the other side, right? All right, good. We're about to put our Venn diagrams together. Bless you. I know. Nothing to say. Alright, you got them all finished? Okay, you have to make sure that whatever you have for your regions, your partner across from you has there for their region. You have to look at the same things and see which ones they have alike, which ones they have different. Yes. I would say at least if you've got at least 3 things, not alike, but I'm just saying as long as you chose at least 2 or 3, like landforms, vegetation, and economic activities. The major cities, you're not going to have them in the same region, so that's not really one to compare and contrast. You might what you could compare and contrast on the cities would be how many major cities does that region have? Well, this one only has 2 major cities. This one's got 5 major cities. That would be a compare and contrast situation on that. They won't have the same cities, but they could have the same number or less, because we only really put the major. Actually, in the regions, we didn't even put all the major cities. We put most of the major cities. Okay, I'm gonna give you about 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna start putting our what? That's okay. As long as you got they've got a couple things probably. Oil and gas. Oil and gas. And what else do you think they have? Ranching. Here, agriculture is also a form of ranching. Well, agriculture is a combination of not just like ranching is more or less just animals, and agriculture is more or less just crops. But you will learn when you do the Indians, you're going to learn that there is a way to grow crops in the mountain basin through the irrigation system that they have to create. If you've got 2 regions that are pretty far apart from each other, you may not have as many things in the light as you do the ones that are closer to each other. If you can get 1, if you can get 2 or 3, that's great. If you only move on. Okay. Alright, so here we go. Hey, would you plug in our lights right there? Plug in our lights so it's not so dark. Oh, let me turn my screen on. Okay, so if we're looking at everyone get your Texas History Journal out. Alright, so you're gonna open up your Texas History Journal. And you are going to turn to page 5. And when you turn to page 5, then you're going to turn your journal with the white part on the right. You need to stop talking, you need to listen now. Okay, what you're going to do now, are you watching my screen? Because if you're not watching my screen, you're going to screw it up. And if you screw it up, then you won't have it in your journal. So what you're going to do real quick, does everyone see this?
Yes.
You see that solid line right there?
Yes.
I want you to take that line and kind of fold it. Or you know what, turn your papers like this. Make it easier. Then take that solid line and fold it to where you have the black line just like this. Does that make sense? Alright. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take that and open it back up again. And I want you to get your pencil and I want you to write what one of your regions is going to be. So if it's mountain basin or coastal regions, so we'll do coastal. So I'm going to write, you put whatever your region is. Not my region, your region. Okay? And then the second one, who had a coastal? Okay, which other one did y'all use, Cortez? What's the other region y'all chose? Central Plains. So we'll do Central. Now, you have to put whatever you have. Okay? So we have the coastal and the central. Now, once I do that, you're going to take your journal. Remember, we're on page 5. All you're going to do with your glue, don't do anything yet. Watch me. You're only going to put glue right there. And not a really big thick line, or what happens, it's going to, and then you're going to glue it just like that. That way we can do the flip, right? And right underneath each one. Of course, that's right on top of it, but I guess they didn't want to do that. Okay. Jordy, you are too slow. We're already past this. You haven't written your names up there. You can't write your names once you put glue on it, y'all. You put glue on it and you haven't written your names on it, you're going to tear the paper. So I said put your name on it first. Glue it down. There you go. I got it. And then what I want quick is I want you to, under your, if you got the coastal, under this first flap, I want you to write what you have, just strictly that one. That's only in the coastal. And then if you've got, then you're going to flip up your last flap and you write what you only have. If you have central, only what's in the central. That is it. And then you're going to flip up this one, and then what the ones you have circled, you may want to close your other one and then put what's in the middle. What they're like, the ones that you circled. And then we're going to share it. Okay, so you only have 5 minutes to do that. So look at your papers that y'all have, and you might have to write them down and then switch them with the other one.
Okay.
And then you're going to start telling me these things. Well, y'all had time, so if you haven't finished it, you're moving on. So what do you have? Okay, so you have this one done? You haven't wrote anything here? Okay, then look at theirs. So which ones do you have circled here? The ones you have circled, go ahead and put them in the middle. If you want to, just so that just if you want to, real quick, y'all, draw a line. Well, pick up the middle flap, and you can draw a line like that. That way you don't cross your lines. So we're gonna use Cortez's, and so you said region 1 was what? Coastal. And region 2 is what? Central. All right. So while you're doing that for yours, right? Why is this torn? You are too big of a hot mess sometimes. Okay. Cortez, go give me some coastal things. Only coastal. Why are you not writing with your pen? You're writing with what your partners have. Why do you have both of them, Lamar? Okay. Come on. The ones. Okay, well, you can still look at that one. You're still using it, Sarah B. So under your Great Plains, so the ones that are not circled go on this side. All right. You have yours? How come you're not writing? Y'all are supposed to be writing yours while he's doing this one. Alright, let's see. Alyssa, you want to go up and do the central? Okay, real quick, it's time for us to, hold on, keep writing what you're writing. It's time for us to go ahead and switch to go to PE, so what I want you to do is at your table, your pieces of paper, write.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I love to see teachers actually doing and using technology and all that fun stuff to be able to have the kids actually engaged and interacting in the lessons. So that was so cool. I know you guys, or you didn't get to see the students, but the students love this lesson because they're actually taking their journals of what has led up to this lesson, using their notes, which shows why they have a journal. So they're able to work as a group, which I thought was pretty amazing. And of course, you do have some students that don't interact really well with the group, but I think this is still kind of the beginning of the school year, and hopefully that'll change. One thing that one of her things that she does really, really well, or what went well with the whole lesson, was she does a total review of kind of like a intro recap and review, I guess kind of in the same thing, of what has led up to and what's going to be leading into this assignment or this lesson. So she asks the students a lot of questions. She lets them volunteer and raise their hands if they want to. So, it looks like to me that she really knows which kids like to interact and which kids, will volunteer. So the main thing that I really liked, again, was that she reviews. And by reviewing and asking them questions, she's pulling them back into remembering what they've learned. They have their journals to show what they've learned. And they actually have something hands-on that they can be reading while she's asking them questions. One of the things is that she does do that I really like is she does a high five to a student. She's very, very positive, and those are some things that went well with her class. Is when she was doing the review, if a student, answered the question or volunteered, she does a high five, which is very, very positive. One of the things that I like what she does is what went really well too is she says you're smart, you know you're smart, which gives these kids some really good self-esteem to be able to participate and feel like they can answer those questions. Another thing is she adds information to the students when a student answers. She adds information to, again, extend that information, help them answer the questions that she's asked them, and also to bring up things that they may have forgotten or, just haven't thought about in the lesson. She gives them helpful hints. There are some other things that she does is one thing I did forget was when she's working with teams, or the kids are working in groups, is that builds her self-esteem. And it also, she did move some kids around, which went really well too, was she moved some kids around, which I think from what I observed in the students was that there was a lower functioning one and she placed them with a little bit higher functioning one. And she evened out the groups as much as she could with the amount of students she had. So that was, that's kind of like her making sure that all the students feel comfortable with the whole lesson and being with students, and also let students get to know other students, especially since this is the beginning of the school year. One of the things the only thing that I might change is letting the students maybe given a little bit more technology. Maybe they could have watched a short video, again, to refresh their memories about the different regions of Texas. She did hand out them their own Venn diagram. She let them work in teams to take their own notes. And then they were each given a Venn diagram worksheet where they actually taped that into their notebooks and then made kind of like a flip chart out of it also. So she took the Venn diagram and then they bent the pages back and drew some lines and had 3 different categories. Again, the 2 separates and then in the middle, what's the same and alike. So she was able to, give some little creativity to that Venn diagram, which maybe a little bit boring to some students. Surprising information through this experience was it seems to be that the lessons almost not enough time, and I know they had to leave to go to PE. And I know that she said that they would stop and come back, but it seems like they were interrupted, which I didn't honestly really didn't know that would. I thought it might happen, but I wasn't for sure. It seems like the students had to stop in order to leave to go to PE. I would have thought that there would have been a lot more. She would have been able to finish the whole lesson. So it seems like that was a little bit of an interruption. She did have one student that she, mentioned that he needed to participate. It went fairly well as far as if he was a discipline problem. I think that would have, she was going to correct that pretty quick. She did call students up to the board, and two were just jumped right up there and started filling in the Venn diagram up on the whiteboard. There was no objection from those kiddos, which that's pretty amazing. I really would have thought that one or two of them would have said, "Oh no, I don't want to go up there," or I can't write on the board, or different things like that. But those kids just went right up to the board and filled out that Venn diagram, or really knew what they were going to put up there. That let me know that the lesson went really well, because those kiddos didn't even take notes up there to fill out the Venn diagram up on the whiteboard. They just did it started writing it out. So to me, they comprehended what they were doing. They remembered. They didn't have to have any notes. They didn't even take their notebooks up. They didn't even take the Venn diagram up to the whiteboard. That let me know that there was a clear understanding of the lesson that she had taught. Also, it was a clear understanding of what she had taught prior to this lesson was understood and comprehended by the students. So that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. One of the things that that I did like that she also did that went really well is she gave them ideas about what they could work on. Like she said, you might want to put a compare and contrast a coastal plain to another type of plane, and then she asked them, okay, and she makes sure the students are working. She walked around the room. She checks for understanding. She did go and ask one of the little girls if she knew that she was new to the school and to the classroom. She made sure that she checked on her. I noticed several times that she would bend down over to the student and talk on their level, and she lowered her voice quite a bit. So, one thing that I did observe that I really, really liked that went really well is that she kind of observed a student, I guess it may have been from the look on their face, that they were kind of having a hard time with kind of understanding what they were doing. And she went over there and she stopped giving the instructions to the whole group, or completed those instructions as a group, and then went directly over to that student and checked for understanding. It seems like she is very well in tuned to her students' facial expressions, and she reads those in to see if they're struggling or don't comprehend the lesson at all, So she did make her way over to that student. And she also makes her way around to make sure everybody's working. One student wasn't, and she said he needed to get working. So I really liked how I don't know how she does it, but she knows exactly what's going on in that room, and that went very, very well. I don't think there was a thing that she missed with every student. Several weren't working. So, the one didn't look like he understood even after she had recapped, reviewed, asked questions, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. One thing I did like is that she gives him time limits. She might say, we've got to get this done. I don't see you working. We're going to, you've got 15 minutes. So she gives them some verbal reminders of their countdown to getting completed. So that was pretty cool. One of the things that I like is that she is just, I think she's just excited about what she teaches. And I think that is just generated in her voice. And her excitement for the subjects that she teaches. And I think her excitement for teaching is felt by the students because my observation was that all the students felt really, really, really comfortable with just simply being in her classroom. They also looked very comfortable sitting in their chairs. But one thing is they listened to her. When she asked questions, hands went up in the air. So it's pretty amazing. One thing that, as far as an administrator, I think this really gave me an idea of what to look for, what I should be looking for. I kind of had in my mind that I'd be looking for how she helps the different kids. In differentiation of the instruction. She uses technology. She used hands-on. Later on they were going to come back and I know it wasn't videotaped, but as I was leaving the room, she said that they were going to come back and they could color the top parts of their paper. So she gives a variety of different activities that each student can do to keep them engaged in the lesson all the way to the end. One of the things that back to being an administrator is it's very hard to not interact with those kids. Oh my gosh. Very, very hard to not interact with them. I know a couple of them were turning around and looking at me like, what are you doing here? But it's hard not to sit there and smile at them, which I think I did a couple of times, so I'm sorry about that. But I couldn't not do that with kids. I'm in the kid business. Anyway, as far as an administrator, it was interesting. I felt a little uneasy sitting in there when they came into the classroom. But I think, one thing with the administrator is I don't want the teacher to feel so nerve-wracked that I'm in there. I think I want the teacher to feel comfortable because I think if the teacher sees as your administrator coming in there, it's automatically they're getting very, very nervous. They know you're taking notes. I would hate for a teacher to feel that way. So as far as that being an administrator, I don't want anybody to think that I'm there to take notes, and to look for negative. I guess that's what I really wanted to say was I don't want to be perceived as an administrator that is going to pick apart a teacher. And I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense to me. And I think as a teacher, I would want whoever I'm going into their room, I want that teacher to feel comfortable and just go on about their normal process of teaching those kids like we're not even there or I'm not even there taking notes or anything like that. So I think that's the most important thing to me is that the teacher feels very comfortable even if an administrator's in the room. I still think that as an administrator, we're still working as a team with the teachers. We're still working as a team to help and support that teacher. That's the main thing is getting them the help and support that they're going to need to be to reach all those kids and make those kids understand the lesson and comprehend and continue have that excitement for learning. So I think one thing as an administrator that I learned today was that it all trickles down. I call it the trickle down effect. That's just kind of my verbiage for that is I feel like that the way I'm perceived is those that goes over to the teacher, therefore goes over to the students. So I want to make sure that I'm very, very positive. So If I had anything else to do again about this, I wouldn't do a thing. I saw it as a really, really good learning experience. But mainly, I just want the teacher to feel like that as an administrator that I'm there to support them and not there to critique, you know. So thank you.